Many of you might have heard of the 24-year-old, according to his family, Robert Fuller, found hung in a tree downtown in Palmdale, California. And I'm going to go ahead and play this video, and then I'm going to do my commentary. Oh.
24-year-old man in Palmdale.
That's right. Investigators think that Robert Fuller died by suicide, but his family thinks his death was a hate crime. KCAL 9's Rachel Kim talked to heartbroken family members about that tonight.
Near Palmdale City Hall tonight, a somber gathering at the spot where sheriff's investigators say a passerby saw 24-year-old Robert Fuller hanging from a tree on June 10th around 3:40 a.m. Family and friends were there to remember his life.
He was very loving, funny, happy, humble.
Very humble, quiet. He wasn't a troublesome kid. I don't think he ever got in trouble. He was so laid back and a quiet, bubbly personality.
Pernisha Theus and Deborah Lemley are Fuller's cousins. They were joined by dozens of others today at Palmdale City Hall to refute what investigators had to say about his death.
Although the investigation is ongoing, it appears that Mr. Fuller has tragically died by suicide.
He was not suicidal. He had no mental illnesses, and we don't want that to be, we don't want that to be implied.
Theus says Fuller comes from a tight-knit family, and they don't believe the preliminary suicide finding. They tell us Fuller just returned from visiting siblings in Arizona and showed no signs of any problems. Do you believe this was a hate crime?
I do. It's a lynching. We have a lot of questions that we need answers to.
The sheriff's department said they are continuing to investigate the circumstances of Fuller's death, and a full autopsy will be completed. Fuller's family and community members want his death investigated as a homicide.
So why would you put out a public statement saying that it was possible suicide if you don't have all the evidence?
That was what the preliminary impression was from the coroner and the investigators that were out there. Now, I am damn determined to find out, and that's why the city manager and I have been working the phones to talk with other investigative agencies that may be able to assist us in this process.
Y'all know who y'all are. Y'all know what y'all stand for.
Community members vowed to find answers. So did Fuller's family.
We're not letting up. We're not letting this get swept under the rug. We're going to get our own report for the autopsy and investigate it. Whatever we have to do to find out the truth, that's what we're going to go do.
Palmdale's mayor said they will leave no stone unturned in this investigation and guaranteed transparency in their findings. Anyone with information about Mr. Fuller's death is asked to call the LA County Sheriff's Department's Homicide Bureau. Reporting from Palmdale, Rachel Kim, KCAL 9 News.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do not believe this was a suicide at all. Our people generally don't do that. And with the history of lynching of Black men in this country, why would that be a first choice for a Black man to do? It wouldn't. Okay, it wouldn't. So this came out, Palmdale CBS, LA, June 12th, 2020, and you heard the video. So community members and people within the community that knew him do not believe this was a suicide. Unfortunately, the problem is the people that do the investigations on this, they don't care about our men being lynched. Let's be real here. They don't care. All right. And if you declare it a suicide, then there's no need to do an investigation. And that's exactly what they want. They want to do no investigation. Then it gets swept under the rug and we all move on. I'm glad at least the family said they are getting their own investigation done. I'm glad to hear that, and their own autopsy done as well. So that's good for them. Hopefully they'll get the real results and not the results from Palmdale City Hall and their police. So he's identified as 24-year-old Robert Fuller, and he was found Wednesday morning hanging from a tree in a downtown Palmdale park across the street from City Hall. Officials with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department said the death was still under investigation, but they believe the man might have died by suicide. They say that about all hanging victims, ladies and gentlemen. If they could get away with telling you that those hangings from back in Jim Crow times where you saw the white mobs under the tree, they would probably tell you that was suicide too. If they thought even for an inkling they could get away with telling you that. Okay, so, you heard the family. They're all grieving the loss of this young man. And, my heart goes out to the family because this is a real tough thing to deal with. And you heard the mayor, Steve Hoffbauer, and he said that, he understands and he wants a full investigation. I'm not confident in that person doing an investigation, y'all, but that's me. But family members and those in the community believe Fuller's death should be investigated as a homicide. He was not suicidal. I don't know too many 20-year-olds or 24-year-olds that are suicidal, and he just came back from a trip. Why would somebody go on a trip to Arizona, come back to California, and you're suicidal? And how did he become suicidal? And we don't want no made up crap because y'all love making stuff up and trying to pass it off as a fact. Not buying it. All right, so he had no mental illness, and we don't want that to be implied. According to the family, Fuller comes from a tight-knit family and had just returned from a trip to Arizona to visit his siblings. Now, why would he be suicidal after visiting his siblings? He was very loving, fun, happy, humble. This is what his cousin said. And he wasn't a troublesome kid. I don't think he ever got in trouble. He was so laid back and quiet. So, ladies and gentlemen, I sure hope the family get the answers they're looking for. So a full autopsy is expected to be completed and released soon. We're not letting this get swept under the rug. We are going to get our own report for the autopsy and investigator. Whatever we have to do to find out the truth. That's what we're going to do. And you heard the cousin say that. So the family has a GoFundMe page set up, and they've raised more than $100,000. Anyone with information about the death was asked to call the Sheriff Homicide Bureau, and it has a phone number here. But what I will do in the description box, I will leave the link to the GoFundMe page for Robert Fuller. This is really, truly a tragedy, but it's also a sign that nothing has changed in America. Lynchings of our men and women have never ended. It has continued. And all they do to get out of the whole thing is label it all a suicide. But it is up to us to see if we can find out the truth, just like this family. I'm glad they're not just accepting it's a suicide and go on their merry way. Nobody should accept that. No one. Rest in power. Robert Fuller. My prayers to him and his family. This got to be a very tough time for them. But y'all, please tell me what you think. Hopefully there's a follow-up to this story. I hope this is not all that we hear and it just kind of go away. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.